The In Conversation podcast series with author Nigel Beckles.
Welcome to the podcast.
Get ready for takeoff.
Welcome back to my In Conversation podcast series. My guest for this episode is an author and creator of Conscious Dreams Publishing, Daniella Blechner. Good afternoon, Danny. Welcome to my podcast series. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, thank you, Nigel. Thanks for having me on your podcast series. How are you doing?
I'm good, hanging in there. So what have you been up to recently?
To be honest, my life hasn't changed dramatically. So I work from home anyway on my business. So, obviously before this lockdown, I lost 2 jobs in one day. So I'm kind of missing that aspect of being in a big community. I'm used to that. But I'm also used to the solitude of being at home. So it's just given me a lot more time to focus on refining my business. And I've still got lots of submissions and books I'm working on. So I've been mainly doing that today.
So, Danny, where were you born and where did you grow up?
So I was born in Hammersmith. I grew up in Hounslow, and then in my early 20s, I moved to South East London, and I've been sort of based around here ever since.
And how was your time at school?
All very different experiences. I went to a couple of different schools. I think my issue really was college. When I left my secondary school, there wasn't the sixth form to go to, so I had to look at different colleges. I wasn't ready, so I had a very difficult period between that time. My life was a bit disrupted at the time and unstable, so I ended up going to 3 different colleges. But I eventually got there. I did what I needed to do.
What was your first book called? What was it about? And what inspired you to write it?
Okay, so my first book was called Mr. Wrong, which came out in 2014. It wasn't the first book that I thought I was going to write. I actually wrote a children's book before this one. And this one really just came from, I guess, my own personal experience. Started off as a bit of a joke. A lot of friends were saying to me, Dan, how are you meeting these people? It's almost like you're replacing Peter with Paul. I'd just come back with these crazy dating stories or, relationship fails. And they kept saying to me, you need to write a book. And I said, okay, if I meet one more, then I'll write a book. I met one more, as you obviously know. So, the point of the book really my why behind the book was because I'm passionate about inspiring, uniting and empowering women and giving us a platform to share our stories. I found growing up that I was taught to be very strong and not to deal with my emotions and move on and, be wrong and strong, maybe not to dwell in the past. And I remember, having breakups and, being with somebody and then something hasn't quite gone right. And my sister or a good friend would say, what happened to so-and-so? And I would say, oh, nothing, never mind, let's move on. So it never allowed me to process some of the things that happened, which allowed me to keep on repeating the same thing. So I wanted to just be brave and just say, look, put my hand up. I had a decade of dating disasters. Has anyone else experienced some of these types of partners? And so it was, stories from a wide range of women all over the world who've encountered this infamous Mr. Wrong character. But more than that, it's about self-discovery. There's stories from men too, and there's success stories, and it actually looks into this thing, is there such a thing as Mr. Wrong, or is it actually about us being right for ourselves? I felt that there were so many relationship books out there that told us, especially as women, who to be, how to be, what to say, how to dress, how to play games even in order to get a man, but nothing that told us about, how to truly love ourselves, what that means, what that feels like, how to question and challenge limiting belief systems that we have about ourselves, love and, men. Nothing that told us about the power of forgiveness or intention setting. So I wanted to create something where we can share our stories in a space without shame, but a place where we could laugh and cry and actually unite together and create better relationships.
You started your own publishing company, Conscious Dreams Publishing. Why did you decide to create your own publishing company?
So I set it up because I know how difficult it was. Obviously, I know you published a book as well. I don't know if you found this, but my original thing was, I've always wanted to be a writer from age 4. And so I'd got this book, getting published and, I'd written a query letter. I tried to apply for agents and, I was waiting for them to reply and I'd stopped writing. And I tried to apply for traditional publishers, and I was waiting for a reply and I stopped writing. And it wasn't until I realised that actually all this waiting was getting in the way of me doing what I love, and that's writing the book. And I felt that I had this kind of major epiphany moment where I realised that I wasn't waiting for a response. I was waiting for validation. I was waiting for these companies or these higher echelons, or however we want to look at these people that we'll probably never meet, waiting for them to make a judgment, waiting for them to give me permission, waiting for me to, waiting for them to give me validation to be great, to say your story matters, you matter. But I knew that if these stories matter by hook or by crook, I've got to do this myself. And so I extensively researched setting up a publishing company, the publishing process, the best way to go about it, published my book myself, did quite well with it. And then from there, naturally, I had people gravitating towards me saying, you've done really well with your book. Can you help me to publish my story? I've got something I really want to inspire and empower other people. And so I started off doing it as a labour of love, just helping people. And then I saw how well they were doing and how they were impacting people. And I realised, my background is teaching. I'm a teacher. I work with young people. I love mentoring. I love literature. They're my passion. So why don't I just fuse all of that together and create Conscious Dreams Publishing and give a platform for people to share their stories and to publish professional books in a world where maybe they might not usually be seen or heard.
And when did you start Conscious Dreams Publishing?
So I set this up obviously when I published my first book in 2014, and then started properly with clients around 2016.
And how many books has Conscious Dreams Publishing published so far? And what have they been about?
Gosh, I think we are up to about 77, and that's in 4 years. We just had our 4-year anniversary.
That's quite a few books indeed.
It's quite a few.
So what are these various books about?
We really love books that, educate, inspire and empower in some sort of way. So we've got a lot of self-development books. We've got books from transformational coaches. We also have books from people who, this is what I'm interested in, everyday people who've overcome extraordinary things. We've got people sharing their life stories, how they've gone from abandonment, how they've been brought up in a Romanian orphanage and now they're a transformational coach. Somebody else who's written their story of overcoming cancer. We do sci-fi novels now only because of our youngest author. As a 13-year-old, she'd written 84,000 words. I read it and it was amazing. And so from then on, I was like, yeah, we're going to take sci-fi. Poetry we publish as well. So anything really that educates, inspires, empowers and gives voice to those who wouldn't usually have a voice.
And what advice do you have for people who are interested in becoming authors?
I would say, why are you interested in becoming an author? What is your purpose? What is your why? That's the most important thing. So are you writing because you want to educate, inspire, and empower in some sort of way? Are you looking to entertain? Do you want to share your personal story because you want to, elevate your business? Do you want to establish yourself as an authority in your field? So really get clear in your why behind it, because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So the clearer you can be on your why, as I said with Mr. Wrong, the reason I wrote this was because I want to unite, inspire and empower women and give us a platform to share our stories. So just really be clear on your why. Also, think about your audience. Really important. There's so many times I offer free 30-minute consultations and people say that, their book is for everyone. Never for everyone. It's the clearer you can be about and the intentional you can be about your audience, the greater service that you can give them. It's all about providing an experience to your reader. How can you get yourself in front of that reader? Where are these readers? How can you find them? What kind of language you're going to use to really attract that reader? What kind of language do they use? And the third one is just to create a vision. One of the things that breaks my heart when I'm speaking to people and I'll say, have you published a book before? And they might have said, they might say yes. And I say, well, tell me how it's done. What have you done with the book? How many has it sold? And so many people say, no, it hasn't. I've literally published it. It's just sitting on Amazon. Why? Create a vision. There's no one that's going to be a better advocate for your book than you. So what do I mean by creating a vision? Thinking about what schools can you get into if you've written a book for children? Can you do a tour in libraries? Who can you connect with? What retailers can you get your book into? What press can you get yourself? What speaking engagements can you get? So think beyond the book. Think about how you're really going to keep that book going for the first year of its life.
So, Danni, what other interests do you have?
Mainly books, writing, literature, nature, and eating.
And how can people contact you?
You can reach me on my website, which is www.consciousdreamspublishing.com. We offer free 30-minute consultations, which you can book via the website. I'm also on Facebook under Daniella Blechner and on Instagram, Conscious Dreams Publishing, and our email is info@consciousdreamspublishing.com.
Okay, thank you very much, Danni.
All right, cheers. Thanks.
Thank you for listening. Please join me for another In Conversations podcast very soon for more interesting and entertaining discussions. Stay safe.